"No one wants to date me," she said, then lifted her shirt. I replied, "I'm not going anywhere." The first thing she said to me wasn't hello. It was, "No one wants to date me." We were sitting across from each other in a quiet cafe, the kind with chipped mugs and soft music that tried not to intrude. Rain traced slow lines down the window beside us, blurring the city into something gentler than it really was. I'd met her through a mutual friend who swore we'd get along. I hadn't expected vulnerability to arrive before the coffee. She laughed right after she said it, like she wanted to beat the silence to the punch. But her eyes didn't laugh. They searched my face, waiting for the moment I'd pull away. I didn't know what to say, so I told the truth. "That's a heavy thing to carry," I said. She nodded, fingers tightening around her cup. "People say they're okay with it. They say they're different. Then they disappear." "With what?" I asked gently. She took a breath, deep and shaky, as if deciding whether I deserved the answer. Then she stood up slightly, turned away from the room, and lifted her shirt just enough for me to see. It wasn't dramatic. There was no shock meant to seduce or disturb. Just skin marked by long, pale scars and the faint outline of medical devices, evidence of surgeries, of survival. A map of pain drawn across her body without her permission. "I got sick in my 20s, she said quietly. "Really sick. The kind that doesn't leave without taking something with it." She lowered her shirt and sat back down, arms folded like armor. "This is usually where they change," she added. "Where the excuses start." I felt my chest tighten, not from discomfort, but from the weight of how many times she'd rehearsed this moment. How many tables she'd sat at, how many faces she'd watched harden or soften with pity instead of understanding. "I'm not going anywhere," I said. She blinked. Once. Twice. "That's what they all say." "Maybe," I replied. "But I mean it." She studied me like I was a language she didn't quite trust yet. "You didn't even ask questions." "I will," I said. "If you want me to. But not to decide whether you're worth staying for." That was the first time she looked surprised. Her name was Claire. She worked in a public library and loved recommending books to people who didn't know what they were looking for. She hated hospitals, loved bad reality TV, and laughed hardest at jokes she tried to pretend weren't funny. Over the next few weeks, we kept meeting, walks through parks, late-night calls, shared meals where the conversation drifted from light to heavy and back again. And sometimes, in the quiet moments, the doubt crept in. "I don't want to be a burden," she said one night, staring at the ceiling while we lay on opposite sides of the couch. "That's why people leave. They don't want the appointments. The bad days. The uncertainty." I turned toward her. "Everyone has bad days." "Not like this," she said. "Some days I cancel plans. Some days I can't explain what's wrong. Some days I just shut down." I thought of my own flaws, the way I avoided conflict, the way I hid behind humor when things got real. The ways I disappointed people without meaning to. "Then some days," I said, "we'll stay in. Or be quiet. Or figure it out together." She didn't respond right away. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. "You're not scared?" "I am," I admitted. "But not of you." The real test came months later. She called me one afternoon, voice tight. "Can you come over?" When I arrived, she was sitting on the floor of her apartment, back against the couch, eyes red. The apartment smelled like cold tea and exhaustion. "They found something," she said. "It might be nothing. Or it might be something." I sat beside her without thinking. Didn't try to fix it. Didn't say everything would be okay. I just stayed. "I won't blame you if you leave," she said suddenly. "This is the part where people realize they didn't sign up for this." I turned to her, heart pounding. Claire, listen to me. I didn't sign up for perfection. I signed up for you. She broke then. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just quiet tears that soaked into my shoulder as months of fear finally let go. Later, at the hospital, as we waited for results, she squeezed my hand. "Why are you still here?" she asked. I thought about the scars. About the cafe. About how easy it would have been to walk away that first day and call it self-preservation. "Because kindness isn't something you offer when it's convenient," I said. "It's something you choose." The results came back better than expected. Not perfect, but hopeful. On the walk home, the sky opened into a rare stretch of blue, like the city itself was offering a small apology. She stopped on the sidewalk and looked at me. "You know," she said, smiling through leftover tears, "for the longest time, I thought those scars meant I was unlovable." I brushed my thumb over her hand. "They mean you survived." She leaned her head against my shoulder. "Thank you for not leaving." "I told you," I said softly. "I'm not going anywhere." And in that moment, I realized something simple and true. Love isn't about finding someone untouched by life. It's about seeing the marks life left, and choosing to stay anyway. Sometimes, the bravest thing a person can do is lift their shirt and show the truth. And sometimes, the kindest thing another person can say is, "I'm still here."